Hi everyone, I just wanted to get out the camera today to kind of do a bit of a response video to some comments that were left on Original versus Remake for Diddy Kong Racing. I'm mainly addressing the ones that were talking about me being too biased in the review. People saying that I was praising the N64 too much over the DS version. And so I looked it over and I was like, you know what, okay, I'll modify it. So I'm still going to keep the original video, of course, but I've just modified it slightly, re-edited the video so that I've removed all those horrible subjective opinions that I presented and just left the objective stuff in for you guys to enjoy. So, I hope you enjoy. Diddy Kong Racing, 1997. In 2007, Rare remade this game and titled it Diddy Kong Racing DS. It was on the Nintendo DS. Both games have a lot of similarities, and I'm going rather in depth. The title screen on the N64 features Diddy flying down on a plane, followed by Timber in a hovercraft and Pipsy in a car. After a few seconds, the screen transitions out to showing each character driving along the DS version. After hitting start from the title screen, the N64 allows you to select one of 8 characters, likewise in the DS. In the main 8, 2 of them were changed for the DS version. Banjo and Conker became Dixie Kong and Tiny Kong. The instruction booklet on the N64 and the menu of the DS version give you a bit of info on the character stats, so both adventure modes start differently. The DS starts by telling the story and the N64 doesn't. It's written in the instruction booklet. The DS1 tells it like it is. Wizpig is taken over, the N64 drops you on the island and you go on your own, the DS version personalizing the game. None of these things exist in the N64 version. The game starts and you can begin pressing buttons and moving the joystick. In the DS version, Taj says this: "Before I let you go exploring on your own, I think you need to prove your driving skills to me." In the N64 version, you drive through flags which guide the way. The DS version had a similar concept. The DS version introduced 2 new challenges. First is the torch blowing game. The second game they brought was an exploration game. You're up against Taj to find tokens which are placed randomly around the island, and you need to collect 10 of them before he does. So enough about Taj challenges. The first world Dino Domain. Fossil Canyon and Hot Top Volcano. Jungle Falls adds a random tunnel. The N64 version contains bananas sitting around the course. In the DS version, bananas were removed entirely and replaced by coins. Sitting next to the bananas or coins, you're likely to find balloons which contain items. The DS adopted with differences. The first is if you start building up one color line in the N64 version, a different colored balloon would overwrite what you already have, while the DS wouldn't do this. The second difference are the power-up tokens, which are entirely new in the DS version. You can pick them up and use them to power up any item you have to a 4th level. The rainbow balloon one fires a missile. Yellow prevents you from being seen and targeted. Green, fake coins. Blue's power up autopilot. The red balloon one gives you 3 homing missiles which circle around you and fire automatically when another racer is nearby. Back to adventure! Now, anyone who's played at least one of the versions would know that after coming first in each course, you're led to the boss. The boss of Dino Domain itself is Tricky the Triceratops. The race itself is shorter in the DS as opposed to the N64. When you beat him in the N64, you hear a fanfare, while for second place you hear... Winning in the DS version will play a fanfare, while in second place you hear... So in the N64 version you had the silver coin challenge. The DS version had the balloon touch challenge. After those 4 balloons you go up against the Triceratops again, and by beating him a second time you gain a piece of the Wizpig amulet, followed by access to the trophy race. In the N64 version, the trophy race is the 3rd time you're playing the tracks. In the DS version it's the 2nd. The last thing in the world is the N64's TT door, or the DS version's Wish door. It's opened by a key hidden in one of the world's race tracks and can be done at any time provided you have said key. In the N64 version you do a challenge. In the DS version it's called the Wish door because behind it are the Wish tracks, or custom tracks. After making the track you need to race and beat TT on the track. We're done with Dino Domain. The other 3 worlds, Snowflake Mountain, Sherbet Island and Dragon Forest, have pretty much the same structure in both games respectively, but there are a few notable differences between the versions. The music played in each area, for example. Also, the overworld has music. The tracks themselves have a few changes here and there. In Snowflake Mountain in the DS version, the track Frosty Village. Snowball Valley had its music changed. The Sherbet Island track Whale Bay in the DS version has a waterfall cave, the small ship shortcut having a hole you can fall through. Pirate Lagoon and Treasure Caves also had their music changed. In Dragon Forest, Windmill Plains music was changed. Outside of the racetracks, we have all the other stuff as well. The TT Door in the N64 gave a challenge in the theme of the world, much like Dino Domain, while the Wishes Door on the DS slowly forces you to draw an uppercase T and reverse Fossil Canyon. But in Dragon Forest, draw your own, which the rest of the bosses, Bluey the Walrus, Smokey the Dragon, and the Octopus. There's a key in each world. What happens once the worlds are beaten? You face Wizpig. Items not there. There are more zippers, and the storm from the N64 version is gone. After the race is won, the N64 version gets a cutscene, and the DS version gets a cutscene. Secret World Future Funland. Space Dust Alley changes the trees in Spaceport Alpha, placing a roof over the top of the track, and Star City an alternate route. The music in Spaceport Alpha was changed, but Space Dust Alley and the DS had the original Spaceport Alpha music from the N64, which, after taking down each race twice, the DS version will make you do the trophy race. The Nintendo 64 has a trophy race too, but it's not required. At the end of Future Funland, we have the true final boss. When you beat it, a cutscene, a cutscene. Afterwards, the credits play again. Adventure 2 is unlocked in both versions. Adventure 2 itself is basically the same game, but instead all the tracks are mirrored. The DS version does yield some extra rewards. You can unlock Taj and Wizpig by beating both adventures respectively. Outside of the adventure mode in the N64 version, there's just playing the tracks in your own time, typing in cheat codes, and the multiplayer. The DS version has a fair few things to offer. You can unlock wish tracks. The DS version introduces 4 new tracks based on the Donkey Kong Country games from the Super Nintendo. So the silver coin challenges were removed from the adventure mode in the DS version, but they were still there in the game. You can unlock each individual silver coin challenge as you complete the balloon touch challenges. The DS version takes advantage of the touch controls in some other ways, and you have to manually spin your wheel or propeller to get a boost for the car or plane respectively. For the hovercraft, you have to blow, but another of the optional boss touch challenges. The one up against the walrus is about removing obstacles. Dino Domains and Sherbet Islands ones are the same game, just with different vehicles. When you're up against the dragon, you use the touch controls to steer and the buttons on either side of the DS to accelerate multiplayer. And aside from a cheat code that you can enter, you can't do the adventure mode in the multiplayer options to only things doable after selecting tracks in the menu. Now the multiplayer in the DS version is standard racing and wish tracks, trophy race and token tussle, and battle mode. See? Wasn't that the uninteresting and uninformative objective comparison that you wanted? Well, I hope you enjoyed. I'd like to thank you all so very much for watching, and I'll wish you all a happy April Fool's Day. Is that something people say? Happy April Fool's Day?